Right now, while you're reading this, something is traveling toward our planet. It might be an ancient rock billions of years old. It might be a visitor from another solar system. Or, according to some scientists, it might even be something that shouldn't exist at all. In February 2013, the Russians found out what it means when the universe decides to knock on our door without warning. An explosion 30 times more powerful than Hiroshima tore across the sky over Chelyabinsk, injuring more than 1,000 people. And no one saw it coming. No one. We're about to go on a journey together through the strangest, scariest, most unexplainable objects that almost crashed into Earth. Some have shapes that break everything we think we know about physics. Others came from places so far away that we still don't really understand where exactly they came from. And some made Harvard scientists seriously consider the possibility of alien technology. Get ready, because every entry in this ranking is a disturbing reminder of how fragile our existence is in this cosmos, and that maybe the next visit is closer than we think. 5th place, the suspicious asteroid, 2020. So in September 2020, astronomers detected something weird approaching Earth. The object, nicknamed 2020 SO, had an orbit almost identical to ours, which is extremely unusual for an asteroid. Stranger still, it was moving slowly by space standards, only about 2,400 kilometers per hour relative to Earth. Asteroids usually whip past quickly at odd angles, tilted above or below Earth's orbital plane. But not this one. It was in the same plane as us, following almost the same path around the Sun. And its nearly circular orbit looked deliberate. Paul Chodas, director of NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, raised a disturbing idea. It might be space junk. Specifically, a Centaur rocket stage from the 1960s, light and hollow like an empty can. But what if it wasn't? What if it was bigger than we thought, and the calculations were wrong? Here are the scary possibilities that floated around the scientific community. Possibility 1. It is space junk, but it's bigger than we think, and there's a real chance of impact. If it hit Earth, it would throw a huge amount of dust into the atmosphere. If it fell into the ocean, it would vaporize water on a massive scale, triggering torrential rains, landslides, stronger hurricanes, and tsunamis due to the buildup of kinetic energy. Possibility 2. It's an alien probe. In this hypothetical case, and yes, scientists actually talked about this in public, there are no government procedures ready for first contact. No one really knows what to do if an unidentified, apparently artificial object starts orbiting our planet in a controlled way. 2020 so stayed captured by Earth's gravity from November 2020 to May 2021, becoming a temporary mini-moon. During all that time, scientists watched it closely, trying to figure out what it really was. Eventually, they concluded it was probably space junk. Probably. But the fact that this debate even existed reminds us of something unsettling. When an object behaves in an odd way, we don't immediately know if it's natural or artificial, and until we figure it out, we live in uncertainty. 4th place, the runaway star, Quais J149. Now we're leaving the world of asteroids and comets and jumping to something truly cosmic. At about 400 light-years from Earth, there's an object traveling at 1.6 million kilometers per hour, fast enough to completely escape the Milky Way and be ejected into intergalactic space. Quais J1249 is 27,000 times bigger than Earth. It's a hypervelocity star, and it's the closest one of its kind ever found. But here's what makes it absolutely terrifying. Something launched it to that insane speed. Stars don't just reach galactic escape velocities on their own. Something had to fling it like a cosmic bullet. The theories include a close encounter with a supermassive black hole that slingshotted it away with gravitational force, or the explosion of a companion star in a supernova that kicked it out like stellar shrapnel. Either way, we're talking about forces so huge, they're hard for humans to even imagine. Now do this little thought experiment. If a hypervelocity star passed through our solar system, it wouldn't even need to hit anything to destroy us. Its huge mass would gravitationally mess up every planetary orbit. Earth could be flung farther from the sun, plunging into eternal winter, or dragged closer, turning our planet into a burning desert. Jupiter could be kicked out of the system entirely, taking away our cosmic bodyguard. The whole solar system would be rearranged catastrophically. And here's the really disturbing part. We wouldn't know about it very far in advance. Hypervelocity stars don't send warning signals. They just show up, wreck everything in their gravitational path, and keep traveling forever through the dark between galaxies. Quaise J1249 isn't heading our way, but how many other runaway stars are there in the galaxy that we haven't detected yet? Third place, the Red Visitor, 3I Atlas. On July 1, 2025, the Atlas telescope in Chile detected something extraordinary, the third confirmed interstellar object to visit our solar system. 3I Atlas, roughly 24 kilometers wide, is traveling at an impressive 217,000 kilometers per hour. It was first classified as an interstellar comet coming from another star system. 3I Atlas developed a coma, that hazy cloud of gas and dust typical of comets. Sounds normal, right? But then something unusual happened. Avi Loeb, a Harvard astronomer and a controversial figure because of his theories about alien technology, published a study with a bold hypothesis: 3 Atlas could be an alien probe on a disguised reconnaissance mission. Loeb pointed to a curious detail. The object will reach its closest point to the Sun on October 30th, 2025, when it will be on the opposite side of the Sun from Earth, making detailed observation from ground-based telescopes difficult. For Loeb, this choice of trajectory could be deliberate, a way of avoiding clear detection. Most astronomers rejected this idea. Darrell Seligman of Michigan State University said, flat out, that all the data points to a normal comet ejected from another star system. But the debate itself is revealing. We have so little data on interstellar objects that we can't completely rule out extraordinary possibilities. 3I Atlas is red, a sign that it's made of primordial material from the early days of its original planetary system, a geological time capsule billions of years old. Between late November and early December 2025, it will pass about 240 million kilometers from Earth, a safe distance, according to NASA. But imagine if that distance wasn't safe. If a 24-kilometer wide object hit Earth, it would release energy millions of times greater than all human nuclear weapons combined. The crater would be hundreds of kilometers wide. Shockwaves would circle the entire planet. Tsunamis kilometers high would smash into the continents. The dust and debris blasted into the atmosphere would block sunlight for years, causing an impact winter that would wipe out most complex life on Earth. And 3 Atlas leaves us with a fundamental question. How many interstellar objects pass through our solar system without us ever noticing? Second place, the impossible one. Oumuamua. October 19, 2017. The Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii detects an object moving through the solar system at 87.3 kilometers per second. And when astronomers start studying it, they realize it doesn't look like anything they've ever seen before. First, its origin. Oumuamua came from outside our solar system, the first interstellar object ever detected. Second, its shape. By analyzing how it reflected light, scientists worked out that it was elongated, about 10 times longer than it was wide, like a giant cosmic cigar around 400 meters long. No asteroid or comet in our solar system has proportions like that. Third, its motion. It was speeding up in ways that gravity alone couldn't explain, as if something were pushing it. But here's the real mystery. Oumuamua had no tail. Comets accelerate because the sun heats their ice, which shoots out jets of gas that work like tiny thrusters. But Oumuamua showed no visible comet activity. No tail, no coma, none of that standard glow. It was dry and rocky like an asteroid, but it accelerated like a comet. Theories started piling up to explain it. Was it a fragment of a planet torn apart by its star? Was it a hydrogen iceberg releasing gas invisible to our telescopes? Or, and here we get into the truly unsettling ideas, was it something artificial? If Oumuamua were an alien reconnaissance probe, it would have collected all the data it needed about our solar system, including us, and left before we could do anything except argue about what it was. We would have been completely defenseless, just passively watching as we were studied. And what if Oumuamua had decided not to just pass by? If it had hit Earth, its long shape and high speed would have created a focused explosion, like a cosmic spear punching through our planet. The devastation would have been unlike anything we've ever seen. Oumuamua taught us one crucial thing. The universe can send us stuff that we simply don't understand, and we may not have enough time to figure out what they are before it's too late. Once to place, the unknown of 1983, we've reached the most disturbing object on this list. And the scariest thing about it is how much we don't know. In 1983, the infrared astronomical satellite IRAS detected something in space that left astronomers completely baffled. A celestial body possibly as large as Jupiter, but acting in a way that didn't fit any known category. It wasn't clearly a planet. It wasn't a star. It wasn't a galaxy. It was something. The Washington Post published on December 30th, 1983, a celestial body possibly as large as the giant planet Jupiter, and possibly so close to Earth that it would be part of this solar system, has been found in the direction of the constellation Orion. So mysterious is the object that astronomers do not know if it is a planet, a giant comet, a nearby protostar that never got hot enough to become a star, a distant galaxy so young that it is still in the process of forming its first stars, or a galaxy so shrouded in dust that none of the light from the stars within it gets through. Conspiracy theories exploded online. Was it the mythical Planet X, the legendary brown dwarf star Nemesis, the Nibiru of the ancient Sumerians? But let's leave conspiracies aside and focus on the undeniable scientific fact. In 1983, we detected something massive that we still haven't properly explained. What makes this truly terrifying is the timing. Right after this discovery, the United States built the South Pole Telescope, SPT, in Antarctica, one of the most powerful observatories ever made, positioned specifically to look at the southern sky. Why? Because if something is entering our solar system from that direction, from below the ecliptic plane, where most planets orbit, it would be extremely hard to detect with telescopes in the northern hemisphere. Now think about this. If there is a massive object in a distant orbit around the Sun, something the size of Jupiter, or even smaller but still huge, and if that orbit eventually brings it close to Earth, the consequences would be cataclysmic in ways we can barely imagine. The gravity of an object that size would distort the orbits of every planet in the solar system. It could destabilize the asteroid belt, sending thousands of space rocks into chaotic paths, some of them inevitably heading straight for us. It could disturb the Oort cloud, the far-off region where trillions of dormant comets wait, turning it into a cosmic machine gun aimed at the inner solar system. And if this object is a brown dwarf, a failed star still emitting infrared radiation, its approach would bring not just gravitational destruction, but blasts of radiation strong enough to fry satellites, wreck electronics, and drastically increase global cancer rates. The worst part? We don't know where this object is now. We don't know if it's still there. We don't know if it's coming closer or moving away. The 1983 detection was followed by silence. No space agency talks openly about it. No public tracking has been released. There are three possibilities. Either it was something explainable that was simply misinterpreted at the time, or it's still being monitored in secret because it represents a threat governments don't want the public to know about. Or, the most terrifying of all, it was forgotten. And something massive is out there, untracked, moving silently through the dark, on an orbit that might eventually cross ours. We've reached the end of our trip through the strangest and most threatening objects that almost collided with Earth. From the small but devastating Chelyabinsk to the potentially colossal unknown object of 1983, each entry on this list is a reminder of our cosmic vulnerability. But here's what should really make us think. Everything we just talked about, every asteroid, every comet, every mysterious object, are only the ones we noticed. How many others have passed by without us ever knowing? How many will pass tomorrow, next week, next year,